Hello everybody and welcome to our final interview of the online retreat, Healing with Music, 21 Keys to Gain Inner Peace, Welcome Unconditional Love and Get That Transformation. And my guest is the wonderful Lorraine Pursell. Great to have you.
Hi. Thank you, Patricia. It's so good to be here with you and your community.
It's lovely to have you. Now, for you listening in, Lorraine is an international best-selling author, TV and radio personality, and a global life empowerment coach. And Lorraine teaches deep inner peace and calm to the families and individuals. She's on NBC KFYR TV weekly with her message of taking care of you while raising your family well. So the topic really for this interview is the importance of deep inner peace and calm.
Yes.
So Lorraine, I know you empower people a lot through your message of this finding deep inner peace and calm. So why is that so important? And also just elaborate a little bit about yourself also and how you have found your deep inner peace.
Thank you, Patricia. I love this question. Tears are coming to my eyes right now. Because without deep inner peace, we wind up being hamsters on wheels like everybody else we see in the cars next to us, and we see on the news, on television, on the sitcoms, and we become one of the sea of people who want to make a difference and want to have a fabulous life, but they probably will not achieve it because they're just up here in their head and they're just going, spinning, and it yields really very little.
Right.
It is our own efforts and not the effort of our connection to Source. And that is where the deep inner peace comes, is in that spot in the center of ourselves. Robert Frost wrote a poem that said, "He who sits in the center knows." And what that means is he who sits in the center of his being knows. You are tapped into Source. You are tapped into all that is. You are tapped into your inner guidance and your higher self and your higher power. And that is the source of inner calm. And when we come from that place and we're not locked up here in our brain, where our brain and our mind is taking over, we love our mind, we love our brain. But Einstein said that the mind and the brain is only servant to the soul and the spirit. That's what Albert Einstein said.
Ah, lovely. That's lovely put, isn't it? Yeah, because as you speak, I'm actually getting that deep inner core feeling. It is in the very, whatever
Yes.
the chakras this is.
Yes, that's
there.
That's the third chakra. That's the solar plexus. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. So that would be the very deep core that you're speaking.
Yes. That's the very center. They have actually all the chakras are centers, but yes, wherever you feel it in your body, that's your center. So he who sits in the center knows, and that's that deep inner peace and calm, and that is where it all starts and really where it all ends. It's the answer. Yeah.
I like the way you say that, where it all starts and where it all ends. Yeah. Beginning and end.
There is nothing else. That's all there is. If you wanted to sum it all up into one big ball.
Nicely said. Yeah. It's like you hear people saying that they have found inner peace. So that's really what they're talking about. It's that deep feeling.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. So, is there a link then between our self-love, our gratitude, and the unconditional love? Is there a link in all of that and the inner peace?
Yeah. And when you go to unconditional love, the place my mind goes, Patricia, is unconditional love for ourselves. which might sound like, that's not really what I was taught. It's not what the Bible says, maybe. It's not what I was raised with church, or people call me selfish if I think of myself. But really, we cannot have unconditional love for anybody else unless we have developed and fostered unconditional love for ourselves. And that is a journey. That is a journey. To forgive ourselves, to fully accept ourselves and our gifts and our talents, the things we want to make better, to just go into self-appreciation every single day. That is it. I think I missed the first part of your question because I just jumped to the unconditional love, because that's the piece that I think gives the most grief.
Right.
Because we think we're supposed to, like, what does that mean? Someone just ran into my car and they told me off to boot.
Yeah.
How can I have unconditional love for them? The only way you can have unconditional love is if you begin to foster and develop that in yourself for yourself, period.
Yeah, the actual first part of the question was, is there a connection between self-love, gratitude, and the unconditional love?
Yeah, gratitude and being thankful for where we are now, as we're calling in, now that we're in the fifth dimension, now that we're calling in all the things that we want because they're already there. We're no longer creating them, we are actually calling them in. So as we go into a thankfulness for where we are now, we're actually more at peace because we're not looking to something outside of us to give us peace. We're like, okay, I'm good the way I am, and I really want that $5,000.
Yeah.
So I'm calling you into me, because if I have that desire, if I have a fear that I won't get it, it means that it's actually there. That's an indicator, it's a flag that it's there for me. And so I'm calling it in.
Right.
And so we do that by being thankful, which is what you're using as gratitude, and appreciation. Appreciation for what we have now, appreciation for ourselves, thankfulness for ourselves, thankfulness for even the situations that we don't understand right now.
It's similar to a situation that happened to me just this week, or actually last week, and things had turned upside down for me, and I had become very, very, I had received very bad information, really, that really tormented me and annoyed me. And the moment I sat down and became grateful for what I had, it changed. It all turned around.
Wow.
Turned around within about one day, 12 hours, 24 hours. And for that, I had been really pulling my hair out, destroying myself with stress and strain.
Yes.
And probably those earlier interviews, every one of you listening, you probably see it in my face. Because I know my face is looking better today. Because anything that I experience, I'm showing it in the face here. So you've probably seen the stress sitting in me. Now, the moment I became grateful for what I had, things start to smooth. Yeah.
Wow. That's powerful, Patricia.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. That encourages me.
Yeah, it was terrible thing that had happened, and it did leave me, I just don't want to disclose it just right now, but it did leave me very frightened, feeling very alone, and feeling very abandoned, and
that's a rough emotion.
without, it's a very scary place to be, very frightening place. Now, it used to be I didn't know what unconditional love was. People used to talk about it and speak about it, and I used to have an awful difficulty in trying to figure out what is unconditional love. And for anybody anyone out there that was like or is like what I was like, can you explain what is unconditional love?
Well, unconditional love, and I'm really getting this from Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks's work, because I just heard her say this. It is holding in our hearts and our minds the feeling of the person that we're with, our kids, our family, holding that same pure vision of them no matter what they do. So, let's say this is the example that she uses. Oh, your kids are so sweet when they're sleeping. They're so cute when they're asleep.
Yes.
And then they wake up. And then they start fighting right away. You feel the stress and tension in the house. And you put your head on your desk and you say, kill me now. And she goes, so you don't feel the same way about your kids now than you did when they were sleeping and they were so beautiful and you loved them so much. And she said, Abraham said, that's not cool. And I'm like, whoa, just to hear that. Wow, okay, so it's holding like those people who are the teachers in our lives, the ones that, are a bit of a struggle for us.
That's difficult.
It is.
Yeah.
It is challenging, but therein is the work, right? To hold their best in our mind and to even make a list of what do I appreciate about this person? And just keep repeating that list of what you appreciate about them and keep your mind focused on that only. When your mind grumbles about them, you keep your mind focused on all of their positives. Don't worry about their negatives. Don't even bring it up to them. You don't even have to bring it up to them. It does no good to bring it up to them because we're focusing on what we don't like, whatever we focus on expands.
Expands, yeah.
So, the unconditional love is staying focused right there.
Right.
In the best of that person.
And I've often heard it say, try and pick someone, an enemy, or someone that you've fallen out with, or that you cannot forgive, and try and forgive that person. You don't have to be beside them, but within, try to forgive that other person. And I have done that. Because we're 10 years ago. I remember doing this. And I wasn't beside the person, but I asked for help to forgive them. Because I couldn't forgive them. I needed them. But yes, there was a great feeling that came into me once I got the help to send forgiveness to them. All the anger within me dispersed. Yeah. So it is amazing the feeling that it brings into us.
This is this particular interview that we're doing right now. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a lot of transformation in it. like I'm actually transforming as we're talking. And just now when you said that, Patricia, you brought to mind someone that I really wanted to practice forgiveness with, and that's my father, who's deceased.
Right.
And so I have not done this, which is what I just said to do, which was list what I appreciate about him. He brought me into this world. He was nice to me up to a certain point. He did his best. I know he did his best. So this is just an example of how to practice unconditional love. So now when my mind comes in and grumbles about him, I'm going to say, wait, you brought me into life.
Yeah.
You were nice to me. You loved me very much, even though you couldn't show it, especially your later years. I don't care. You loved me.
Yeah.
And, everyone loved you. You must have had something going, well for you. Yeah. So just keep those in my mind. That's the practice. Right. That's the practice of unconditional love. Keeping that as my focus, not grumble, grumble, grumble.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's so easy to get into that grumble, grumble, grumble. And again, I'm thinking of another person that I know, and I've often, this is amazing, one thing's leading to another. I've often spoken to her because I know just in her solar plexus, in the same place here, I know I feel it. I feel there's a ball of bitterness. And if only I could get her shifted in her thinking to try and forgive and not to keep revisiting the same conversation with herself about the other people who she has or feels bitter about. Yeah. So if you keep feeding it, keep talking about it, you keep feeding the ball of bitterness.
Right.
And it never goes away.
That's why complaining is so dangerous. Complaining and bitching and moaning is so dangerous.
Yeah.
Because we get so caught up in it. And I've gotten to the point now when I'm around somebody who's complaining about somebody else or something else, I can't even hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't even. It destroys me inside. It destroys my peace and calm.
Yes. You get that feeling, and you kind of switch off. You can put up the shutters
Yeah,
to
yeah,
stop
yeah.
it coming into you. So that brings me to the question about what happens when we gain healing through any form of the creative process.
Well, I just before you and I got on the call, Patricia, I had an emergency coaching call from somebody, and I didn't know what I was going to share with him, but I went into this deep meditation with him. That was creative. That was
Yes.
creative. It was spontaneous. It came from source, and I let it come through me without resistance. And I trusted every word that came to me, and we recorded it so that he could have it to listen to and resource every day.
Right.
So creativity is so healing, because I think when we are in creativity, and I hope I'm answering your question well, but
Yeah.
when we are in creativity, it takes a lot of faith, because
Yeah.
we might have a thought and then we'll go, oh no, that's just my thought. That's not God's thought. Who am I? Who would listen to this? Oh, that's pretty bold. What are you thinking saying that? That's what our what I call the itty bitty committee. It rhymes with itty and bitty. Is always saying in our mind, and so it takes so much for us to learn to just accept what we feel coming through creatively. If it's putting paint on paper, if it's putting notes on a page for for writing,
Yeah.
or where to put your fingers on the keyboard for piano or guitar, whatever. So to say yes to that creativity is so healing, because again, if we aren't healed in ourselves, we have very little to give somebody else.
Yeah.
So it all starts here. And so that process of going, I'm getting this voice, I'm getting this nudge, I'm getting this inspiration, I'm going to say yes to it, and actually doing it, that's the healing.
Yeah.
Through creativity.
And again, as you're speaking, it brings me to another moment in my journey of creativity. And I'll speak to it briefly because I know we're running on here. I was in a small recording studio with the harp, and I was recording. Now, I was playing the pieces of music, and somehow, in the middle of every piece or every song, there was a moment where I just allowed myself to channel.
Yes.
And what happened was the music, the tune took a loop, and within that loop was the creative part of the piece.
Wow.
And it still fitted in with the tune that I was playing. And I seemed to get that loop in every piece, and then I came back to the piece, the original,
Wow.
and ended the original. So
Wow.
it started the original, came in with the loop, and ended with the original. And the recording engineer commented, what happened there? And I said, I don't know. It went into its own. And I said, it really felt beautiful, because for the first time ever, I trusted my improvisation, would be the word. I trusted the composition. I trusted what was coming to me, and I was being recorded live. So in the live recording, I allowed myself to go into that, and that was one time only, and the feeling was lovely because I trusted what was coming. Yeah, amazing.
It takes faith and courage, though, doesn't it?
And also it takes you the faith to believe in yourself,
Yes.
that
Yes.
you're capable of downloading that, and that it's good enough to be put out there.
And everybody does have the ability to channel, to let source come through them, and it's just saying yes to it and not discounting yourself. That is the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You do have a free gift, and it's something to do with the 3 keys of self-love.
Yeah.
If you want to tell us all about that.
I would love to. Well, I have this wonderful free ebook at www.3keys2selflove.com, 3keys2selflove.com. And in that, I tell my story of how my journey to self-love, which was a long and hard journey. And I go into complete detail on that with my emotionally abusive relationship that I was in. And so you will feel very good about yourself and your life. And like, I understand where you're coming from. And there are 3 keys and 13 tools to self-love that I outline in that free ebook. So the first key, if I could just go through them quickly, is to only do, see, hear, and be around what feels good to you. Only do, see, hear, and be around what feels good to you. Start really tuning yourself into, that doesn't feel good. I'm going to get away from that person. Mm-hmm. Oh, I've got the news on. Turn it off. Leave the room. If you're with people, the holidays are coming up. If you're at a holiday gathering and there's a bad discussion going on at the table, either change the subject or get up and excuse yourself and go to the restroom and, breathe, look at yourself in the mirror, and just get yourself back to that center in peace and calm. So only do, feel, hear, be around what feels good and sensitize to that. Key number 2 is to honor your feelings. Something we don't do very often in this culture is honor our feelings. We think we're supposed to fit into this mold and, what Susie's doing, what Sammy's doing. It's like, no. What are your feelings? Stay there. So honor your feelings is key number 2. And key number 3 is to love yourself enough to walk away from a situation or a person that is not serving your higher purpose.
Right.
And that takes courage, and that takes development, and that takes time. And that's the bulk of my work as a global coach, working with women and their families all over the world to get people to that point where they have the courage to walk away. Because what I've found is that as you stand up and do what's right for you, the other people around you come into their highest and best self. Yeah.
And if you don't walk away from it, it eats away at you.
Yes, it becomes a tolerance, and when we tolerate something, it is not life-giving.
Yeah.
It takes away life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to put up with this. Like, no, don't put up with it.
Yeah.
Speak up or get out.
Yeah.
You move. You take care of yourself. You get away. So I go through all the steps to do each one of these 3 keys in this free ebook at 3keys2selflove.com. When you get the ebook, you're going to give me your name and email address. That will enable us to stay in touch with each other. I have lots of free classes that I give on confidence and self-esteem, and it's all sources from my hard-won journey, coming from somebody who had no confidence at all. Now I'm on television across my entire state every single week on NBC, international best-selling author, radio personality. Things I would never have imagined I could have pulled off. But because I practiced these things, I now am living my dream and helping other people all over the world do the same.
You're so generous. And all the work you're doing and helping so many people. Just listening to you speaking, and I've watched your videos on YouTube. I went in and looked at a few of them, and it's you're very generous. You're very giving, very giving.
Thank you. It's nice to know that comes across.
It does, definitely. So, just before we finish, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can. Well, definitely getting the free ebook will get you connected to me. So we will always be in touch with my emails and my free classes, etc. I have a private Facebook group called Your Great Big Life. It's all about inspiring you to live your great big life. This is your one and only life. Let's not mess it up. Let's really get it on. So it's all about supporting you to do that. And so that's at Your Great Big Life on Facebook group. You can search that, Your Great Big Life.
Lovely.
And just put in what's that?
It's like a community, really, for
Yes.
the
Yes, we've got about almost 400 women in there from all over the world. It's a women's only group. I don't discriminate against men. I love men. I work with men. I just was on the phone with a man before I got on the phone with you, Patricia. But this particular community, I want it to be a really safe spot for women, and we have no mean girls there.
Right.
No mean girls. If
So
you know,
people come together.
yes, yes. So just search Your Great Big Life and request to join, and I will accept it. You can also go to my website, LorrainePursell.com. That's LORRAINE, P as in Paul, UR, S as in Sam, ELL.com. And you go to TV and events, you'll see all the TV shows there, which are all about how to raise your family well while you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Beautiful.
The big key.
Thank you so much, Lorraine. That's
Thanks,
fantastic.
Patricia.
Really enjoyed this chat. It just kind of just flowed. And everybody listening in, yes, we're at the last interview, but next week we're going to have the encore running. So if you've missed anything or you want to listen again, come back in again next week and listen to them all. And we will see you at some stage along the road.
Great. Thank you so much, Patricia. Goodbye.
Bye-bye now.